Hey everyone, how you doing? This is DJ Sanakori and also the cyberbehike. Hope everyone's well. And I got some stuff I want to review with you guys today. This is a continuation of the Sacred Tree teachings, and I got the book right here from the Indigenous Mobile Library. And there you go, the Sacred Tree. This is reflections on Native American spirituality. Yes. Hold on a second. So I'm gonna just wait a little bit here, give a little reflection on Native American spirituality. There's Atabe, the sacred mother. Oh, where are you at? Where you at, Atabe? Let me just move down. There you go. The light, the sacred life force, right there. So all things began, and all things will continue to be. And once again, I'm using this book, The Sacred Tree, from the Indigenous Mobile Library. This is Sanakori. Um, Will be like the part 2, and this will be part 3. I'm just gonna wait a little bit so folks get on. If you have any questions as I talk, please let me know. Hold on a second. Oh, just get my notes ready here. I got my companion today. I got my oregano tree. It's being kept by my taino mavi right here. I don't know if you can see it. It's a good drink. I'm not sponsoring the company, but it got some water in there, not mavi. And I got my oregano tree. It's really growing cool. So this is gonna be my prop for today. Okay, oregano. Thank you for being here. This is a Caribbean style, the wild leaf. I mean the wide leaf oregano. So let's begin. For all you guys be listening in the future, watching in the future, I should say. See, I'm used to Taino radio. So today I want to break down how the sacred tree has one, two, one, two, three, one, two, three, four symbols, which has been passed down from generation to generation. You know, when I'm in Borinquen, we talk about the sacred trees like the ceiba, the guayacan, all these beautiful trees that give us life. I know the guayacan tree from Huanica has been over 1,000 years old. You have the ceiba tree. There's a huge ceiba tree in Caguana. Very beautiful. If you've been there, let me know. It's awesome. So, the symbol of protection, that's the first symbol. The tree represents protection. Okay? So, for example, if this is a tree and you have the sun above and it gets very hot, especially in the Caribbean, the shade of the tree offers us comfort. So, that's one way, the shade from the sun. Very, very important. So it's also a place of gathering where the people can gather under the tree, once again, offering protection. If there's a rainstorm, there's a lot of leaves, especially if it's a huge tree like the ceiba, it offers us protection from the rain. So once again, that protection. Also, hold on a second. It protects us from the outside elements, the outside world. Also, it could be a material like the wood can be used for a house. It could be for a ceremonial lodge made of wood, which binds the spiritual and the physical realms together. It can be used as firewood to keep us warm in the wintertime. Very important. Uh, so when we talk about the tree, we talk about the wood, we talk about the leaves, the protection. it helps the people become unified, to unification of the people. Okay. Um, so when we look at this unification under the tree, we're looking at peace, we're looking at contemplation, and we're looking at centering. So you see the center pole of a tree offers us that protection. When we look at the bark, it also a symbol of protection, how the bark protects the tree, the interior. So the symbol of protection is so important when we talk about the sacred tree. Um, so the tree symbolically, when we talk about protection, it gives us values, the birth of our values and potentialities, like I mentioned in the other video, the potential, that life force right there. It's that potential. And that's what makes us uniquely human. And this is the birth of vision, what we can become, that seed that turns into a tree. So this path leads us to what indigenous people call wholeness. Okay. And this is what the tree, its protection, provides us when we unify as a people. So we see the symbolic protection of the tree, and this is sacred. Okay. It's also the beginning of wholeness. This is the very beginning of wholeness. And when the seed is planted through the seasons, it becomes a huge, huge tree. In this in this example, this is this oregano plant. Um, so that seed is potential, and when it becomes a huge plant or a tree, there is your potentiality becoming true. The second symbol of the sacred tree is the nourishment that offers us human beings and the four leggeds, the insect world. Okay. And what does that mean? Nourishment is what gives us life and growth right there. When we use this oregano, we use it for cooking, we use it for healing, and so on. And when we talk about a tree, we talk about growth, we talk about the fruit of the tree. Okay, the fruit. So, for example, if you have a bacha or passion fruit, canepas, you name it, it gives us our nourishment. It's almost like the nourishment of my mother, a mother giving breast milk to the children. This is what the tree represents, that whole growth of its fruit. Very important. The tree, the sacred tree, cares for the children. So, so as we receive from the fruit of the tree, we continue to grow from infancy to adulthood to elderly status and until our death. And then in our death, we become nutrients for the future tree. But we'll talk about that later. So there is a physical and a spiritual interaction with the tree people. So our interaction with the tree is like a mother. She is our mother, and she gives us the fruit. She gives us oxygen to live. Oxygen. Now there's another level, the leaves. You can see the leaves here. They're brand new leaves. They're still growing, and I'm putting this in water. Once again, my taino mavi. It's not mavi inside, it's water. But basically, woo, it's when the leaves eventually die, it's gonna go down to the. It's gonna fall to the ground. It's gonna decompose, and it becomes future nourishment for the tree itself. And then these nutrients eventually becomes our dark soil, our black soil that we use to grow our vegetables, to grow future trees and future plants. That's that topsoil, beautiful earth. So once again, the leaf, when it dies, goes to the ground, it becomes nourishment for the tree. So falls back. So there is that element of death, but through death, nourishment continues, health continues for future generations. And once again, the future generations, also to future generations of teachings, of wisdom being passed down. So this is what we call, what the natives call accumulation of wisdom when we look at the sacredness of the tree. Um, so even though right now this is green, eventually it's gonna fall. I don't throw out the leaves. I keep it on the pot because it gives nutrients to the plant. Again, the wisdom of the elders, their death brings us life through their words, through their actions. So in a Taino way, this is when we talk about the songs and the dances and the stories, the prayers, the ceremony that was handed down by our ancestors to the present community right now. And what's uniquely interesting in the Caribbean, you also have the representation of the African indigenous influence. They brought their wisdom and so on. So those ancestors are not with us, of course, because they're ancestors, right? But they live on in us. So they nourish us through the development of the potentiality of the future generations, what the natives call the seventh generation. So nothing is wasted. Nothing is wasted in nature. So the symbol of the leaf, right, is the symbol of sacrifice. Our ancestors sacrificed themselves for us. We see ourselves as future trees. We see them as that leaf that died, went back to the earth, but it gave us life. Um, it gave the tribe life. That's why we're not extinct. This is why their blood is still with us. It keeps us healthy as a community, even though many people don't think we're alive, think we're the ghost people, but hey, we're alive and well. So for the human being, growth throughout the life process, right? Our life is a life of service. We're constantly giving, just like this leaf that dies. We're constantly giving for the future generations. We sacrifice ourselves. So we provide service to the community and future growth for all the individuals that come after us. So there is a lineage. And this is what the sacred tree teaches us. There is a lineage. There is existence through creation. We never die. We never die. Now, there is another symbol, the third symbol of the sacred tree, and that is um, when we look at the tree, there's always constantly growth. And what we see through the different stages, different developments of the tree, we see our life experiences. And this is what we call the center of the tree, the trunk. These are all accumulated experiences. We talk about the rings of a tree. That's how we can determine the mathematics, the years, the rings of the tree, how old it is. Well, this is what you call our human growth can be seen through uh, our experiences as father, as mother, brother, sister, friend, and so on. And guess what? How do we measure our experiences? Through the physical, through the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual aspects of what makes a human being, the four seeds. Okay. It's our inner reflection outward. So, whatever we share in the world, let me tell you something. I don't care who you are. You can be a loner or you can be a socialite. The thing is, we're always, all of us, are influencing others in the community no matter what. So we have outward, but we also have hidden actions. And believe it or not, it affects the growth of others. Okay, the fourth symbol of this sacred tree in indigenous way, unity and centering. And this is the whole sense. When you look at the trunk of the tree, that's that line that goes all the way up to the canopy. This is what we call the central pole, the center pole. When you build a bohio in a traditional way, there's that center pole. Okay, it's like the atabe circle behind me. There's the dot in the middle. If you so, for example, hold on a second. Let me look for another example here. Well, I don't want to spill it. Hold on a second. I have a glass here, so you see the circle right there. In the middle of the circle is where you plant the seed, and when that seed grows into a tree, this is the center pole, the center. And this is how we see, um hold on a second, let me just look at my notes real fast. The center pole, believe it or not, represents the great spirit, the power of the creator, that center pole. Okay, that's underneath and is above, up and down, under, above. It's the center of our lives, is the center of the universe. And this represents balance and understanding. How do you reach balance? How do you reach rhythm in your life? Is understanding the wisdom, making those connections, connecting the dots. And this is what the tree, the sacred tree, teaches us, is that we need to be that center, the center, no matter where you are. That center is so important. Hold on a second. Hold on. So, as a human being, remember I said there's the physical realm, there is the mental realm, there is the emotional, and the spiritual. And in the center of that wheel, we have, believe it or not, the creator. The life force is right in the middle, and it gives us that energy to continue on. So it's a relationship. Basically, it's a relationship. So hold on a second. Let me just. So the tree represents, the death of the leaves, the centerness, the sacrifice, all these different symbols. We become nourishment to the community as well. Okay. So let me just introduce you to, briefly, then we'll get onto it. Hold on a second. Just look at my notes. I don't want to get lost here, because I do get lost. I just don't want to ramble. Okay, the first sacred indigenous truth that we know through wisdom of the elders, wisdom of the ancestors, the first principle of this sacred tree is wholeness. Wholeness is the key. Wholeness is the centerpiece. All things are interrelated. All things are related. Everything in the universe is a single whole. So just imagine this. You look at all the planets, all the stars, all the galaxies. We're all connected. We're all connected. The animals, if you live on Mother Earth, the snails. When you reach wholeness in your life, you understand that all things are related. The second principle of the sacred tree, spiritual understanding of the indigenous way, the old ways, is change. Everything changes. It doesn't stay the same. I'm starting to tell people this. Some people don't like change, but everything changes. Nothing stays the same. All creation is in a state of constant change, movement. So nothing stays the same. The presence of the cycle is always constant, just like the wheel. It spins and spins and spins. In the future videos, I want to talk about each principle in detail. I just want to introduce it to you. So we have wholeness, we have change, and the third principle is that there's patterns in the world. I mentioned this yesterday's video. Patterns. There are patterns. And this is where a lot of people in the science world, they look at these connections, and they build this whole career, scientific career. But guess what? It's all organic. It's all natural. Our ancestors have been talking about this for thousands of years, okay? Nothing is random. There isn't interconnectedness. Nothing is random. So there are cycles. There are patterns, okay? Now, sometimes it's difficult to understand these patterns. Sometimes it's very confusing, and sometimes we just get so frustrated that sometimes we have to walk away or just ignore it sometimes. And And this is what happens when we look at change as a negative thing or as a negative dynamic. Very important to see change as positive, as part of our nature. Okay. Just looking at my notes here. Sorry. Okay, the fourth principle. The fourth principle, the sacred tree, sacred wisdom of the ancestors. The fourth principle. There are things that you can see empirically, physically, but also there are things that you can't see. And that's just the nature that our ancestors figured out about the world around us. We can see it, and there are some things that you really cannot see. So the physical world is definitely, it's real. You slap yourself, someone punches you, someone cuts you, you're gonna feel it, and that's the physical understanding and experience. Okay, so even though you can feel the physical, you can also feel the spiritual. I remember the first time in my life when I saw the Northern Lights up in Wisconsin. I remember it was like 3 in the morning, man. My good brother, they woke me up, and he said, "Yo, the Northern Lights." And I swear, I saw I saw the physical lights, and then something just overwhelmed me. The whole sense of awe, the whole sense of, man, I just felt like I was like a little speck in this whole. I felt so small, but yet I was part of this phenomenon of these Northern Lights. Whew, it just blew me away. So that's, I couldn't put that into words. It was just like, it wasn't something like that. It was unseen, that whole experience, even though I can see it. So there are different laws when it comes to the seen and the unseen. Okay, um, so it can impact. It can definitely affect our physical ways, and this is where sometimes I feel people get a little off centered when they experience these spiritual dynamics, these spiritual experiences, and then they get stuck right there. They constantly want to live in that unseen world. But that can be a problem because we live in the physical world. We can't have our heads in the clouds all the time. We have to be rooted like the tree, just like the roots. So it's a fine, fine line, and each physical and spiritual have their own principle. I mean, they have their own laws that we have to respect. Hold on. So this is where balance. You have to understand the laws of physics, and understand the laws of the invisible spiritual element where we live. And this leads us to the fifth principle. All human beings are spiritual as well as physical. Okay, so you can be an atheist. You don't believe in any higher power or any God, but you definitely can experience this unseen reality. Okay, very important. So we have a physical and a spiritual capacity as human beings. Principle number six: human beings are always. Sometimes we can block this, but human beings can always acquire new gifts. Okay, but there's a catch to this. Even though we can experience and receive new gifts every day as humans, there's a struggle. It's not easy for us as human beings. It takes us like 21 years to develop our brain. So it's not easy. It's a struggle. So for all you people out there who thinks it's easy, it's not. There's no shortcut. Okay? So it's important to understand that at one point you may be very timid, you may be very shy to participate in this whole creation story, your own creation story in community, but it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. So you have to be bold. You have to be strong. Sorry to say. Um, but sometimes we're like that turtle, we duck in our head, in our shell. But because our nature is spiritual, our nature is social, we have relationship. For example, the tree people, the plant world, the animal world, other human beings. There is an interconnectedness that we cannot ignore, but it's very, very difficult to struggle. So, hold on a second. There's one word I'm looking for. So here it is. Ready? So true learning in the indigenous way is to experience life for what it is, not to run away from it, but to understand that life is a struggle, that you will feel physical pain, spiritual pain, emotional pain, mental health pain. You're going to feel it. It's a struggle. Okay. But because we're social beings, because we have a connectedness, not just to nature, well, guess what? Yes, we do have a connection with nature. Humans, we're part of nature. Okay. So, principle number 7. Ready for this one? There are 4 dimensions. Okay. I'm going to go slow with this. There are 4 dimensions, sacred 4, right? Of this true learning. What does true learning really mean? Is it opposite of wrong learning? Isn't learning just learning? Okay. Guess what? There's 4 aspects of this. Okay. And let me break this down. When you look at nature, right, there's the 4 directions. We see the sacred 4 all around us. Okay. So here we go. So, first, through the use of the will, I mentioned this over and over again. This whole dynamic of the life force, this will that carries us, that helps us see these visions, of what we need to be. So we have to understand that not everyone at one given time can say, "Whoa, I got the whole truth and nothing but the truth." There's a constant learning, okay? There's a constant rhythm and balance that needs to go on. So guess what? True learning, 4 dimensions. And I'll say it again. I keep repeating myself. Physical learning, mental learning, emotional learning, and spiritual learning. That's what composes the wheel. Okay. Principle number 8. The spiritual dimension of human development may be understood in terms of again, 4 capacities. Again, the sacred 4. First, the capacity to have and to respond to realities that exist in a non material way. What? How does one respond to these realities that are non material? Well, let's break this down. Dreams, visions, ideals, spiritual teachings, goals, and theories. Whoa, the unseen. And you thought you were not able to see the unseen. Well, there you go. So we do have this capacity, okay, in our human development, in the spiritual dimension, all right, that we have these realities of dreams and visions and so on. Okay. The second capacity, okay, not just number one that we have the capacity to really understand non-material ways, but we also have the capacity to accept those realities as a reflection of unknown or unrealized potentiality, or the potential to do or be something more or different than what we are right now. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that's for me, that's freedom right there, when we have the capacity to accept the realities, all right, that we can experience physically and spiritually, mentally, emotionally, okay, of something that's unknown and unrealized potential, but we can see, we can have a glimpse to the future. It's a reflection. We reflect. Even though it's not real, we can still reflect it And as many people can say, we can think it, we can perceive it, we can be it. This is a whole concept. And this is what the natives knew about this for thousands of years. Okay, the third capacity. Ready for this one? You have the capacity to express these non-material realities using symbols. What kind of symbols? How can we share this unseen realities? How do we do this? Hey, guess what? Speech. There's a lot of people that they're great with words, books, art, the artists, man, the artists of the world. They bring it to life, the unseen. And how about the mathematics? How about that? And that drives me crazy, math. But I'm really pushing myself to understand its true nature, math. Something invisible becomes visible. The fourth capacity, ready for this? Woo, the capacity, now okay, straight out of the book. The capacity to use a symbolic expression to guide future action. So we just don't walk in the dark blindly, right? Like we don't know what's going on, but this symbolic expression to guide future action. So all this unseen capacities, it guides us, okay? So is action directed towards making what was only seen as a possibility into a living reality. So right now I can show you a seed and I'm going to say, hey, this seed is going to grow into a ceiba tree that can last for hundreds of years. You're going to say, what? Are you kidding me? But I can see it because I seen the ceiba. I seen the oak tree, and so I see what it can become. But when you look at the seed, you're like, what the world? That's going to be a 1,000-year-old tree like the Guayacan tree? Well, guess what? It will. So, in your mind, if you can conceive something that no one else can see, keep working on it. The capacity's there. You can see it. You can even feel it. Work on it. Okay? Keep working on it. And that's the eighth principle. There's a spiritual dimension of human development. Okay? It's not just all physical with the muscles and the eight pack, and beautiful flowing hair. Hey, that's all beautiful, man. But check it out. There's a spiritual dimension of growth. The ninth, ready for this? The ninth principle. Human beings must be an active participant in the unfolding of their own potentiality. You just can't sit there and become what you want to become. You just can't sit there all day in your couch. You just can't sit there letting life go by or say, whoa, what was that? You guys saw that? It's a feather. Oh, one of my feathers. Oh, what? I was doing some arts and crafts before, working on some feather work. Wow, that was cool. So guess what? We just can't. I know the temptation is just to sit there and say, "Oh, woesy me, look at me. I have diabetes, or I'm ugly. Maybe my nose a little distorted or something. Maybe I'm losing my hair and stuff, and all that other stuff. Be active, man. If you can conceive it, it's gonna come to be, man. You just gotta keep at it. You have to be active. Principle number 10. I love this one. Ready for this? Whoa, the tree almost fell. I'm going to read number 10 according to this book. The doorway through which all must pass if they wish to become more or different than they are now is the doorway of the will. Think about that. This is out of control. For thousands of years our ancestors understood this, taught this in ceremonies. And I'm teaching you now that the doorway, the entrance, which all must pass, all human beings must pass, Um, if they wish to become more than what you are right now, you're meeting the will, which I call the life force, man. That it's a magnet. It's a magnet. It pulls us to itself. And we might fight it, but it pulls us. So the person must decide to take the journey. You got to decide. No one can decide it for you. Okay, you might be a spoiled brat, or you might be entitled to certain things. But the bottom line is you got to get up, go to that doorway, and you have to make it work. Take that journey. Okay. And the path has infinite patience. This is where people get lost, man. I know many times in my life I get lost or I gotten lost. You have a goal, you map it out, and now you're saying, oh man, it's going to take me at least 7 years to reach this goal. 7 years is a long time. So then we give up or we walk away from it because maybe after a year, 2 years, 4 years, it's just too much. I can't wait too long. I can't wait. That's it. It's just too much. I keep failing or I keep whatever. I just don't have the money or I just don't have the time. Okay. But guess what? The key to this principle of going through the door is patience. Paciencia. It will always be there for you. That door is always going to be there for you to decide. You have to decide when to travel through it. Can you believe that? Patience. Patience is the medicine. Okay. But you have to don't don't push away. You have to embrace that will. Okay. Principle number 11. Anyone who sets out, for example, anyone who makes a commitment. Oh my God! It's damn good. Are you serious? Wow! Oh my God! Someone just said, "Oh my God!" I got a little scared there. So anyone who sets out, once you make a commitment, right, or or ready to go to that doorway or go through that journey, guess what? And this bugs me out, and it works. Once you make that decision, you're going to get help. You're going to find help. Help is going to come. You may not realize it, but because we're social beings, this is guaranteed. It's the law of natures. You're going to get help. Okay. There will be guides. There will be teachers that will appear in your life and they're going to help you. And there's going to be, as indigenous people, we understand this to be, there are spiritual protectors who watch over us. Our ancestors watch over us, believe it or not. Just like that leaf that died and gave nourishment to the tree. Our ancestors are walking with us. Okay. We're not alone. So if you think you're doing this by yourself, I got something else for you. But if you're afraid to take that journey, you're not alone. You will get help. No test, no obstacle, no hurdle that you as a traveler will experience. You're not gonna be alone. You will be tested, just like the tree is constantly tested through the seasons, especially during the snowstorms, during the hurricanes. In Borinquen, I was overwhelmed when I saw all the dead trees and the leaves were down during Hurricane Maria. Well, first it was Irma, then Maria, double whammy. But they came back to life, man. Many of the trees didn't make it, but as a community, they did. I want to take the time. I remember when I took my training in New York City parks of how to identify plants and how to work with the plants and the trees. Is one thing the teacher taught me. See, again, a teacher. Um, He taught us that when you go into a forest, there's a mother tree, and she's the one that's like the oldest tree, and is the one that guides the other trees, communicates with the other trees. And you know how they communicate? You see those roots? You see those roots? Every root in the forest is interconnected and they communicate with one another. So the job of the mother tree is to is to communicate with the other trees to identify someone who's sick. And when she can identify a sick tree, she communicates with the other trees to send nutrients to that tree so it will not die, to keep the community alive of trees because they all help one another. And guess what? There's going to be a point where the mother tree is going to make a decision and say, okay, we cannot help this tree. This tree will die. And this is when you go into a forest, you always see like that one tree or two trees. It's just dead. And sometimes you're like, man, why is that tree dead? It's surrounded by all these trees that are alive. How did it die? Well, guess what? Those trees, they tried their best for it to survive. Isn't that amazing? These trees communicate with one another. And for many people who've taken medicines like ayahuasca, cannabis, cahoba, they can tell you this, that they communicate with us. They help us reach these visions. Well, this is the power of the tree. There's an interconnectedness. They talk to us. They talk to each other, and this is why they can survive in the wild. So why can't we do that? So you're not alone. And in the struggle, you will learn. In the struggle, you will become stronger than ever. But we do it with one another. That's the 11th principle. We do it in commitment. Principle number 12. Check this out. The only source of failure in your journey. You want to know how you're going to fail? Or the capacity to fail? You really want to know? Anyone? Anyone in the comments? How can you fail? Hey, what's up, gracious sunchild? Hey, what's up, D? The only source of failure on your journey, all our journeys, will be when you decide to fail, when you decide not to follow the principles, not to follow the teachings. Why is that? Because these teachings have been passed down from generation to generation and it's been successful. So the only way you're going to fail is by your choice. So when you fail, it's because you fail. You fail to understand that you're not alone. You fail to understand that you have teachers around you. I can't stress that anymore. That's the 12th principle. We all have potential. We all have capacities. And once you make that decision to walk that path, a lot of indigenous people call the red road or the brown road. Here's the thing. The failure comes in when you decide to fail. When you decide, sorry guys, I just can't do it. I can't do it. But guess what? Hopefully there'll be someone there that's going to say, man, get up. Come on, I got you. Come on, I got you. You got this. You got this. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. So these are the 12 principles the sacred tree teaches us. So it's not what do you call it? It's not weird that the tree gives us oxygen and we also give the tree life through our carbon monoxide. So they take our poison and we take their poison. Wow, it's amazing, right? So there is no failure. There's only success if we follow these laws of physics. We follow the laws of spirituality, and we have to equally respect it. So when we destroy the trees, when we destroy the rivers, when we destroy one another, we're going to have problems. A lot of problems. So why are there wars? Why are we killing the trees? Why are we feeding each other poison? Because we're not following the principles. We might be stuck in the physical, money, fame, fortune, but that's going to lead. There's three other directions that we have to follow to receive the gifts of the four directions. Okay? And this is the sacred teachings handed down. And this is an amazing book. In 1984, all these indigenous elders got together, and they, from different parts of the world, man, these original instructions, and they got together to share their teachings. And this is what they came up with. And guess what? They all had the same teachings. Okay? When they first got together in the early 80s, this book was published in 84. The Four Worlds International, British Columbia and Canada, First Nations, they all got together. The chairman was Phil Lane Jr. This is one of the books that you can see right here. It really changed my life. And this is like my scriptures, This is like my Bible, because the sacred tree is found in every culture, right? The tree of life. So guys, I want to leave you there. I want to give you guys some seeds, and the reason why I give it to you is because maybe it can help you and understand that we're all family, man. We're all family. We're not meant to kill each other. We're meant to lift each other up. We're meant to be fruits. We meant to be just like our creator, to be the center pole, to keep the balance between the above and the below and everything in between. Many blessings to you all. Stay strong. Bo Kwatukan, blessings. Taino T, may God the Creator be with you. I'll see you soon. I'm going to continue the sacred tree teachings, and I'll see you soon. God bless you all, and be well. Thank you.